Well, Mike, are you ready to break into the big topic that we wanted to discuss in the pre-show, or do you need to like wipe your ass or something?
Harper texted us this. I was telling you about it. The recent interview from several weeks ago. If you're listening to this on Patreon, it'll come out right after. But if you're on the free feed, yes, we discussed this weeks ago. This happened weeks ago. CM Punk was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and I told Doc he had to listen. Doc told me, did I hear it? Harper's messaging, did y'all listen? I listened to the whole thing. Doc didn't listen to the whole thing yet. I think Harper listened to most of it or the whole thing. And I got to say,
I listened to about a half an hour or so, 45 minutes.
Very, very interesting. And I'll say that. And I guess, Doc, do you want to go first? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, let me ask you this, because this will automatically let me come in as the great divider and divide our audience into the two camps that they're going to be in for the rest of this conversation. Harper, do you mostly, because we don't believe anybody totally, do you mostly believe or mostly not believe what CM Punk, what Phil had to tell us?
Phil,
I mean,
go to high school with him?
I mean, what does he have to gain by lying?
Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. Mike, do you mostly believe or not believe Phil?
I believe a lot. And there were some things where I was like, okay, I don't know if you're being completely objective. And I can give you a specific example on that one item that I'm thinking of.
Hold on, because this is going to create two folders in your inbox for people that want to yell at you and people that want to say that we're absolutely nailing it once again, as always.
Because I have no idea how bad it is right now with the AEW fans.
Well, one of the reasons that our friend Phil is so good in the wrestling business is because he elicits that kind of reaction from people. I like listening to him tell stories, but there's a whole bunch of people on this that listening to this who his mere mentioning his name makes them angry. Seems like you can sell some tickets with that kind of reaction, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Before we cancel him, let's make a bunch of money with him. You know, that kind of thing.
For real. He talks about that in the interview.
Okay.
Just talked about how
I listened to it less than anybody else. So let me back out of this, because I think this may be a Mike-led session with Harper providing some pepper on the steak.
Well, let's start with the first thing that I just didn't agree with that he was talking about. He says, you know, this was ironic. He was kind of alluding to the atmosphere in WWE right now and the atmosphere over in AEW. And the interesting thing was the positive spin he was putting on the WWE locker room atmosphere versus, you know, what he experienced in AEW. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time as he's touting the WWE, and once again, for the Punk fans out there, I like Punk a lot. I think he calls down the middle, and I think he can be difficult to deal with. But he's talking about how great the atmosphere in WWE is now. And I'm thinking to myself as he's explaining this, like, Punk, you left because of how bad things were. And then he specified, like, he was getting specific. You know, when he hurt his shoulder or arm in AEW during the brawl out, when the whole fight happened, the way he explained it on that show was he had to get his like surgery set up and everything done. And he was saying how nothing was in order over there. And he was like, you know, if I was a Jaguars player, would I be getting treated like that? Where, you know, I got to handle everything on my own. But then I recalled, if you listen to the Cabana podcast he did, one of his big complaints about WWE was medical. Now, he wasn't complaining back then about a surgery that he had. I think it was MRSA that he had a bout with or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, you're touting WWE medical because now you've got a right elbow injury or whatever right now that WWE has well taken care of him, it sounded like. But when you were in AEW and you got hurt, they weren't dealing with you right medically that you would like to be dealt with. But one of your gripes when you were in WWE was the doctor, and I think that was part of the lawsuit or whatever. Doctor, I can't remember his name. So I was like, okay, Punk, you're kind of being hypocritical right here. And here's the thing I want to point out.
You said wait. You said you like Phil. How can you? I mean, are you trying to tell me you disagree with him?
Here's the thing that I'm trying to say.
If you like him, you got to agree with everything he says.
That's right. You're starting to crawfish, Mike.
You're trying to be funny, because then I'm gonna tell you for the next 20 minutes what he nailed. But this is the thing. Like, you gotta. This is the problem with everyone nowadays. I'd say 90% of society, and it's definitely 95% of the online wrestling community. You got to objectively look at things sometimes. Just because you like a person doesn't mean that their take on things is 100% right and they're nailing it, because that ain't how the world works. So you got to just admit when your favorite is wrong. Stop clinging to these damn celebrities that they pay your goddamn bills. Okay? That's the first thing I'm going to say. So CM Punk, I didn't agree with the way he explained that with the injury in AEW versus his injury now, because again, one of his chief gripes in WWE back when, among many of his gripes, was how they dealt with him when he had his issue, when they gave him the Z-Pack for, I forget. I mean, if you listen to the Punk interview, what he did with Colt,
Dude, that was probably 15 years ago.
Well, it was 10 approximately, or 11 at this point, I think. But point being, like, he's praising WWE Medical now. He wasn't praising them then. And I know things change, so that's fine. I'm just saying, just remember what happened. Now, Harper, let me ask you. You listened to 30 minutes of it. Because I listened to the whole thing, like I said, what stuck out in your mind from the 30 minutes that you heard? Because I don't want to start talking about things that y'all haven't heard yet.
I mean, the one thing is with the glass thing. When he says Tony Schiavone comes up to him and says, Jack Perry cussed us out, I would have been like, what the bit? What? Who fucking does that?
So he was, if you haven't heard it, he was very measured. Apparently, they were at
Tony Schiavone, bruh.
Right.
It's not some fucking dickhead with the headset holding the clipboard. It's Tony Schiavone, who I know he's been absent from this world for the past 20, 15 years, but like he was, working every day in his business when it was, when it looked and smelled and tasted like it's supposed to. So I think you might want to listen to him.
It wasn't just Tony. It was the producer. It was several people he named.
That's what I'm saying. But the thing is, who's a producer? Right? That could be some guy holding a fucking clipboard that, fuck you. But when Tony Schiavone, bro, come on, dude.
What Harper's talking about.
You're some fucking little kid. That's like 20-something years old. That's done nothing in this business.
Except come up with this one, in his mind, cool idea.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, bro, I mean, you're not John Cena. I mean, you got to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin to tell people to go fuck themselves and Tony Schiavone to go fuck themselves or something. Like, who the fuck are you, bro? I mean, you're the fucking Avenger that's in the background, bitch. You ain't Captain America.
Yeah.
I
And
wish.
then he tells Tony about it, and Tony says, "You go handle it." And I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" And then that reminded me of the scene from Tombstone when the I forget the guy's name. He's the leader of the bad gang, Curly Bill. When he's all fucked up on shrooms or something, and he's shooting up at the moon, and they tell the sheriff that, "Oh, look, he's doing that," and the sheriff's like, "Oh, well, this is a town problem. This is uh, the the marshal has to take care of this." It's like, bro, you're the sheriff. Go fucking
Not
clock
today.
in, motherfucker.
Not today.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It
So to
just goes to
provide
show you, bro. I mean, you're not from that world, bro.
some clarity here, Jungle
What?
Jack Perry is giving Tony Schiavone and the producer and several people a hard time. He wants to break the glass of a rental vehicle. Schiavone
And then
goes
the
to
same
Punk.
thing, and that's what he said was that, and I'm thinking, bro, if he breaks that fucking window on the Hertz or whatever the fuck rental car is, they could blackball the fucking company. Because you're doing like jackass stunts with their fucking car that they didn't approve you to do. So when you show back up to the rental car with that fucking, four Taurus with the windshield busted in, they might tell the company to go fuck off. Don't fucking work with these people anymore. They're fucking idiots. And that's the first thing that popped into my head. And that's what CM Punk says looking right afterwards. Bruh,
And
it's just, you see, when like you don't have money on the table and you're not financially invested into shit like this,
Everything's a good idea.
everything's a good idea. And like you only think about yourself.
Everybody listen to this. Next time you got to take a business trip, go rent you a car and then just just beat the shit out of it before you turn
Yeah,
it in. See what happens.
right. I mean, this is I'm like, bro, like what planet are these motherfuckers from, bro?
Well, he's a rich kid from Hollywood.
Bro,
That's what-
yeah, I mean, pretty much. And then fucking Tony says, "Oh, well, you go handle that, bruh." I mean, you're the fucking Tony Soprano of this shit.
Hold on,
And that's
hold
No, he's
on.
not.
basically
Hold on, you got two. So here's something that Punk said. I got to stop you for a second. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Tony Schiavone, we got to use last names here too, goes to Punk and says, "Can you talk to Jack?" Punk goes and talks to Jack, and he said it was a very calm discussion with both of them. And Jack Perry says, "Okay, I won't do it." At this point, Punk is calm, Perry's calm, but Punk was like telling Tony Khan, because we got two Tonys here, that's why I stopped you. Punk's telling Tony Khan, "Can you go deal with this? Because if I have to deal with it, this is before he went and dealt with it. Obviously, he's like, if I have to deal with it, you're not gonna like the outcome of it." And Tony Khan's like, he didn't want to deal with it. He, according to Punk, this is Punk's version, he doesn't want to deal with it. So Punk does deal with it, and there's no fight at that moment. That's the key point. There's no fight. According to Punk, it's a calm discussion that they have at that stage. Nothing else.
Yeah,
So, which was interesting.
It's like The Sopranos, where someone keeps doing something stupid, and they go, and then they tell Paulie to fuck off, and they tell Christopher to fuck off, and then finally they tell Silvio, and Silvio goes up to Tony Soprano, and Tony tells Silvio, fuck. I mean, you handle that shit. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me.
I mean, so that was problem one. I agree with you. It's just like, why is Punk dealing with this? Now, again, this was at an AEW Collision taping. Punk told Jack Perry, "Look, if you want to do that on Wednesday night, a Dynamite, you do it then, but not here. Not on the Collision tape." And this is when Punk
and he
was
told Tony
over
that these
Collision.
two shows wouldn't work. Just let me go.
Yeah, he told Tony before they would do the split with the two shows that it wouldn't work. He told Tony Khan that. Now you fast forward to Wembley, they're doing a big stadium show. Jack Perry says on air, "See that real glass." Punk immediately goes to Tony Khan, "Are you going to deal with this?" Tony Khan doesn't want to deal with it. So this is where it gets interesting because I had assumed there was this NDA in place over what happened. The NDA was in place after with the fight he had with the Bucks and Kenny Omega and Ace Steel and Larry the Dog that got kicked or whatever. That was with the NDA. There's no NDA over the Wembley thing. Punk says, "Do you want to?" Punk says, so he approaches him and I guess Jack Perry gets in his face, and Punk says, "So I choked him out a little bit. Not choked him out, but I choked him a little bit," which made me and Doc chuckle. So, and Punk says specifically, "I did not throw a punch. I did not throw a punch." So then Ariel Helwani's like, "Okay, so the next day or whenever the next time they're in Chicago and you're not going to appear because you've been let go." Tony's scared for his life, and Punk was like, I can't speak for how Tony feels about something. I can just tell you there was not a punch thrown. Basically saying Tony's full of crap. He just didn't say it with the fear for his life, which I find very interesting because not even a punch was thrown and you feared for your life. Like this just goes. I'm like, wait, what are we doing here? We talked about this last summer. Why is this man fearing for his life? Oh, he's a rich kid. He's never seen a fight in front of him.
I might catch an extra fist flying, but I'm not planning to catch an extra choke.
And so that happens. And then fast forward, Ariel Helwani is talking to him more about Tony Khan, and he's just like, what do you say, Doc? He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's like, he's a nice guy.
And
I don't think anybody has disputed that or the fact that he's done some good things for wrestlers, to take, hopefully to create jobs, financial, blah, blah, blah. But the thing of it is what he says next is the most important thing. He's not running a business.
Nope.
Yeah. And that's so you're not Mud Show Mike, right, Mike? That's a parody, or is that you? On Twitter.
No, that's me.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to the fake Mike Mills. He ain't been on there in a while.
Oh, yeah, because I saw what you shared about the I clicked on Twitter for the first time since the Reagan administration, and I saw what you shared, that little clip.
Oh, this? Hold on, I'll play it.
Yeah.
But if you're more happy with some goof saying that you had a 5-star match and the building's a quarter full, we're not in the same business.
Right. Now, he would go on to say after that, somewhere in there, that was his mistake. He thought they were, when he got hired, that's the goal. Make money, pack the house. His whole mindset is like he thinks that they're just there to have good matches, which doesn't necessarily always equate to good business.
Or compelling television.
Right.
It's almost like it, bruh. Remember the fucking Twilight Zone movie came out like in the early 80s?
You're going to have to educate us on that one because I don't.
Okay,
I think so because I never saw that shit.
Oh, y'all never saw? Okay, well, never mind. I was going to bring up one of those. Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Oh, I got one other thing from that.
He's absolutely right. What he's there to do and what Tony Khan is there to do are two different things.
Yeah, two different things.
And here's the other thing that I noticed. I listened to enough podcasts to know that you can hear this similar messaging on Corny's podcasts. Hey, I've heard Corny say Tony Khan, when I spoke to him, was a very nice young man. He just didn't have a clue about the wrestling business. I mean, that's a Corny quote, pretty much. I've also heard someone on the other end of the spectrums on his podcast. I've heard Bischoff say, Tony's a good dude. He's a nice guy. He has no idea how to write a story or book a TV or produce a TV show or do this. And I've heard Dutch on his podcast. You see, I listen to a lot of podcasts here.
Dutch is the most sensible of the three you just named too.
And he says basically what this is for Tony is that he's pulling out his toys, his action figures, and he's playing with them.
There was an interesting question. One of the last questions Ariel asked Punk was, are they still going to be in business, X amount of time from now? I forget the exact question. And Punk was like, well, first, I think the question was around success. And he was like, well, that depends how you define success. And then Punk says, they're going to be around as long as Tony wants to keep funding it. See, that's the difference between this guy and Herb Abrams and some of these other yahoos who had this big pipe dream about running a wrestling fed and was going to go up against Vince McMahon and whatnot. Eventually the freaking water stops coming out the tap if you don't pay the bill. Well, with Tony Khan, like, he might not be a billionaire, but his dad is. So if they just want to keep pumping money into it, they can lose all the money in the world and still have a wrestling program on TV. It don't mean it's a successful one, but they can put a wrestling show on TV.
I mean, you think one day his dad will be like, "Here, let me see the books."
No, because I don't think he's lost. I don't think he's lost anywhere near the kind of money that is even a pimple on anybody's ass.
I mean, but you would think eventually he would be like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Look how much money you're pissing away fucking every week. I'm not going to keep funding this. You're just flushing this down the toilet."
If you were driving down the road and your girlfriend threw a quarter out the window, would you turn around and go pick it up?
No.
There you go. And you also became Deep State Harper there, just in case you were wondering.
It's great.
That must be nice, huh? Yeah. To have money like that, bro. That's like fucking P. Diddy shit. You go crazy.
Bro, I get mad if I lose $5. Okay, that's how cheap I am. That's how cheap I am.
Why did we lose that? Well, we will never recover from that.
If I lose 20, I might consider the Burger King thing. Okay, so
if I lost a $20 bill, I would potentially throw up.
Now, if y'all think I'm joking, Doc knows me well. Is that a shoot, Doc?
It may be the most truthful insight into your personality that you've ever displayed on this show, other than your ethnicity.
Don't let when you go to Wildcat X-Rated fool you. That's a night to relax. I might spend a few dollars on alcohol for me and the fellas that are there with the BTT crowd and whatnot.
That is one time a year.
But that's one time a year. That ain't every night. I don't go. Look, that is the only night out of the year that I go out drinking. The only night.
That is,
I don't go drinking, man. Well, for one, I got a family. I'm married. I'm just not going to the local.
That's their problem, not yours.
That's right. Okay. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the bar. But to go back to Doc's point, and the point like Punk was making, like, this can go on for a very long time. Like, they're not going. I don't think people realize, like, this is the part that I think, like, hardcore WWE fans.
People don't know the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Right. Well, the hardcore tribalist WWE fans, because we're not tribalist fans on either side. I think we call it down the middle. The hardcore tribalist fans that are like WWE fans, or even they just hate AEW. I think some of them might think, oh, he's just eventually they'll get tired of it. Bro, this is the thing, man. Their pockets are so deep, like they might just keep doing this forever. Nothing's forever, but for a very long time.
Yeah,
like a very long time.
Like 10 years?
And here's
we're already 5 into it.
And I'm not rooting against them.
Me either.
Me again. That's jobs that wrestlers have, and it is out there as an alternative to WWE, which Lord knows they need one. It's just not what I prefer to watch. But for everyone that's upset about the way we're talking about it, I'm happy for you because you found some wrestling in the current product that you enjoy. I don't have that luxury. That's okay. I can be happy for you while you hate Mike. That's fine.
They hate us all, man. They think, dude,
Why?
the
They don't hate
AEW,
me. They love me.
the
I don't know.
AEW hatred that we have been getting over the last month,
I don't even look at that shit, bro.
it like came out of nowhere. I thought we were being fair. Well, you just said you never get on Twitter, so that's one thing.
And you don't watch their products, so
and you don't, right? And I don't watch. That's the other part that I get blamed for. You don't even watch your product. How can you say you don't like it? Because I tried for a very long time, and I really hated it. Okay,
so you're
unlike Cornette,
whole fucking turd to know. Damn, baby, I don't like this.
Unlike Cornette, I'm not going to continue to hate watch it. That's great, Harper.
That's a great one. You know, I can't believe that I'm the one here that watches it the most. And
yeah, but I mean, you got kids though.
They don't like it.
They don't like that.
Latrell will watch. Here's funny. Latrell will watch WrestleMania this weekend because it's like a thing. And for some reason, he got his best friend and his best friend's dad into wrestling. So now he told me the other day that his best friend's dad, they ordered Peacock so that they could watch the Royal Rumble. And I'm like, dude, you're going to get your best friend's dad divorced. Stop it. But he'll watch WrestleMania. He we watched some Raw last night and he was like, Solo, he likes Solo and all, he likes different things, but AEW, he's like, what's this? He's like, oh, Edge is over there. And then he keeps going.
Yeah.
Once he found out that it wasn't a legitimate contest, he goes into the dark period till he understands how to work. Once you grow up enough to understand that a work can be satisfying, you come back.
So let me say one more thing about Punk, and then we'll get to the October 31st. The one thing that Doc told me the IWC was ablaze with this, and I didn't really get on Twitter to see what people said. I didn't care. I mean, I get enough hatred about just us being just critics, not hate watching it. Just you get on Twitter, dude. It's a cesspool of people just like screw you and your AEW takes. Yeah.
I think Harper's feelings are hurt.
On where? On like the PTT,
oh my God! Like you're a fucking idiot. You're a moron. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not good.
There, I want to sick these motherfuckers. And if y'all can hear me, I'm fucking coming.
I'm like, all right, settle down, Buckaroo. Go somewhere. But let me say this, and we'll get to October 31st. Punk specifically said he has a lot of friends over there. He wishes them nothing but success. He reiterated something that Doc, you and I said a couple of weeks on this show when Harper wasn't with us. When we were like, I specifically said, hey, it is good that there's an alternative because now you don't have a monopoly with the WWE and people can actually negotiate a decent salary. Plus it gives people it gives wrestlers a place where they can work because we were around when WCW was bought and ECW went under / was bought. And all you had was one game in town. And for many years, there wasn't really an alternative. There wasn't a place that guys could go. I mean, TNA did pop up, don't get me wrong, but you understand what I mean. So like Punk reiterated, he's like, I wish him nothing but success. Like, he talked about FTR, Sting, Darby. He named a couple other people. He's like, I got a lot of friends there. He's like, I don't want to say a bunch of names because then they'll get hated on, but he's like, I got a lot of friends there. I wish that company well. I like the fact that guys have another place to be able to earn a living. So like to me, he didn't just take a dump on AEW in this. Like I thought he was very fair in a lot of instances, that being one of them.
But it's never going to be heard that way because he called Tony a clown.
Well, he didn't call Tony a clown. That line about a clown, I think that was directed to Dave Meltzer.
Okay.
Because when he said, you got clowns out there who think a 5-star match is good. It's like with a 25% house. I think he was referring to Dave, but he could have also been referring to the Bucks. That's the thing. I don't know if that was directly thrown at Tony, but I guess it is subjective, because when he says clown, you could sit there and go, well, I consider the Bucks clowns. I consider Tony a clown. It's all subjective at that point, or who he's talking about.
I'll go work over there, bro. Bro, you pay me fucking 6 figures a year? Shit. All right.
Pay me.
Yeah. And then we could just delete all this.
Yeah. This is the best wrestling company I've ever worked for.
Yeah. Tony Khan is a genius. He is his generation's Bill Watts.
Oh, God, don't say that name. Oh, my God. But anyway, Doc, any closing thoughts on Punk as I get the video version of this week's show queued up? Just give me a second. I'm getting it open.
Here, let me make them all angry out there. So Phil Brooks is gone, but his interview about leaving is still more interesting than their TV show. So
isn't that crazy, bro? Dude,
there you go.
The ratings are just dropping, and they gotta be waiting for MJF to come back and and ride in on a white horse and try to save this shit. But it's gonna take more than one person.
Bro, by the time this airs, it'll obviously be more. As of us recording today, that show on YouTube where he interviews Punk dropped less than 24 hours ago on there. It already had 500,000 views.
Yeah.
On their YouTube channel.
Did it have the Big Bang Theory leading in?
That's nice.
I don't get the reference. What?
Oh, look, he's trying to play like, what? Okay.
What? No, I don't get the reference. Mike. What's the reference?
You want to explain it, Harper?
AEW starts, what time is it supposed to start at? 8, huh?
I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, so
That's
what
not
happens
important.
is
Continue.
It starts at like 7:59 to feed off to the end of the Big Bang Theory, so the ratings look better.
Oh, you talking about the thing that Meltzer and Alvarez were going at it on Twitter?
Corny and TGBL always talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what were the ratings for each quarter or each match or quarter hour? And they start with the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, so they're saying the Big Bang Theory pads the numbers.
Right, because they start at 7:59 instead of 8. And that's the reason why they do like the 5-minute run over, because whoever clicks in to watch, Young Shelton or whatever comes on next, pass the ratings for the end. I mean that's a good idea, but TV people know exactly what you're doing now.
Oh, gotcha. Well, such is life. We don't hate. If you're an AEW fan out there and you watch it, I'm going to repeat what I always say, because I always say this, but it falls on deaf ears because, people hear what they want to hear. Watch what makes you happy, okay? It's as clear as that. If that's what you want to do with your time, more power to you. It doesn't mean that I can't be critical of it, and neither can Doc and Harper. We're just having a conversation. Right. If you get worked into a shoot over AEW talk or even WWE talk on here, like, you don't have any real problems in this world. Because let me tell you something. If a listener, this happens a lot, starts talking crap about the New Orleans Saints or Pelicans to me, I don't give two shits. You know why? They ain't paying my bills. So what? Like, why are grown adults getting worked into a shoot over opinions that people have about their favorite topic?
Because they don't have a life, Michael. You got to understand, you have the title of husband and father, and you have a house note. And
that doesn't make me unique.
These motherfuckers don't have any of that shit.
That doesn't make me unique. There's millions.
Playing fucking Xbox, but they don't have your fucking responsibilities. So fucking they got time to bitch about their football team or fucking whatever, bro. They're fucking losers.
Harper, you don't have a wife and kids though, and you don't get worked into a shoot over this stuff.
Yeah, because I'm fucking grown. I'm 47
That's my-
years old. I got work
That's
in
my
the
point.
morning.
That's my point. That's my point. I don't. You don't have a wife and kids. I have a wife and kids. Me having a wife and kids has nothing to do with the fact of like my carefree attitude about AEW or non-important things in life. Sure, I enjoy pro wrestling, but I'm not going to let it dictate my life. I'm not going to go do the VE thing or Burger King thing behind it.
Come on.
I mean, what are we doing here? Jesus.
Well, hopefully what we're doing here is talking about October 31st, 1992, WCW. As you patrons know, we recently we covered the event. We all got in our cars and put on our hazmat uniforms and went to Philly and covered the Halloween Havoc. Boy, what a time we had. And
Jesus
tonight
Lord.
we need to cover the fallout from this particular event. And Mike, are you ready to start the episode?